Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast with Mario, Yumi, and Nick. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
こんにちは。
Because we are mostly true.
Yes, and welcome to the Mostly True podcast. Yes, I'm Mario, and today we'll be discussing another very interesting topic regarding the differences in culture, in languages, but today we'll be focusing on language itself.
I believe so. Yes, I believe we're going to be talking about onomatopoeia. Is that correct?
Yes, onomatopoeia. Or,
Some people might not know what that means.
Yes, what does onomatopoeia mean in Japanese, Yumi? How would you say that word?
なんだろう、ニコニコとか、ワクワクとか、
擬音ですね。
それです。
Right, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. You know, that's the most difficult part of learning Japanese, aside from the Japanese grammar, which is completely the opposite.
Yeah, almost the opposite of English.
That's quite. It's really, really hard, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And the kanji. Don't forget kanji.
Yes. For me, it was easy because when I came to Japan, I actually moved from Taiwan and came to Japan. So I was already used to the kanji while living in Taiwan, right? So it was okay for me. But the grammar, the hiragana, katakana, and those three were just incredible.
Yeah, I'm all of those plus kanji.
だよね。擬音は擬音で勉強するの？
Gion, we actually, I mean, I went up to a JLPT level 2 while I was in school. So we didn't study Gion as Gion, like a lesson itself, but there would be like some parts in the unit that we will have to learn.
Well, from an English teaching perspective, the onomatopoeia is very interesting because in English, although we have onomatopoeia, we don't have as much of it compared to Japanese. We replace it with words, with adjectives.
True. True.
And I wonder historically, I wonder why that is. I actually don't know why Japanese use such a high percentage of onomatopoeia instead of an adjective.
So I want to hear Yumi's opinion on this. Yumi, どう思いますか？
どう思いますか？どう
Do you
なんだ
have
ろう。
an adjective alternative? So before we said kira kira, okay, which I think in English would be not bright but sparkling or shiny, sparkling, bright. Do you have a word, an adjective for kira kira?
輝くとか、輝いているとか、
But
光っている。
that is a verb.
But that's the thing. You know? One aspect that over my years living in Japan, I realized that, you know, even Japanese, even our students or our clients, every time when we practice presentation, for example, you know, they always say, oh, but our Japanese language is really flat. You know,
Flat?
It's flat. It means no intonation.
Monotone.
It's monotonous. So it's a one sound through the talk.
あれが抑揚がない。
I think I made a mistake. Not monotone. It's monosyllabic.
Anyway, it sounds
Sorry
like
to the listeners.
The person is talking in one sound generally. Okay, so there are no fluctuations of the voice itself. There's absolutely nothing. Right?
Yeah.
So they just like talk flat. Like ここに行きました。これをしました。
Okay.
Right. 何してるんですか? Except for the question mark, they may raise the tone a little bit. It's still compared to English. It is very, very different. So there was a thing like why Japanese language is very flat. I wouldn't say it's flat because you have onomatopoeia words. You see, unlike English, Japanese language, as Japanese people have developed this kind of in their language. Like, for example, if they use a kagayaku or hikatteiru, and they can use kirakira, it gives the word themselves give a different impression to the listener.
Oh, so you're saying that if I before we said kira kira, another option is hikatteiru. Is that right? Hikatteiru.
Like for example, like we're talking about kirakira now, right? Like hoshi wa kirakira shiteru.
Koshi?
Hoshi.
Hoshi. Ah, okay.
Stars are shining brightly.
Yeah.
For example.
So there would be a difference if I said hikatteru or I said kira kira. The feeling is different.
I'll ask Yumi. Yumi, how would you feel if I say to you, 見て、星は光っている。星はキラキラしてる。The image that you have, which sounds better for you?
多分ちっちゃい子とかから考えたらキラキラの方が分かりやすいんじゃない？
キラキラ。
キラキラしている。でも大人になってくるとそれがちょっと恥ずかしい。キラキラしている。
Would you say, oh, look at the stars, they shine brightly tonight? How would you say it in Japanese without thinking, just naturally?
わあ、すごい星が
キラ
キラキラしてるよ。
That's what I want to say. So this is where the Japanese language, it developed a different way of communicating with the listener. Like, let me give you another example. This is something that I used to talk with our clients. I said, you know, like there was about thing about the hair. You see, Japanese people, they never compliment people about nice, like, oh, you have a nice dress, or your hair looks nice. It's
not that common.
It's not common, right? People say it, but it's not as common because of the Japanese culture. But if I say to Yumi, for example, Yumi, oh, 髪型は綺麗ですね。Now, I'm going to try to use an onomatopoeia word and say what Yumi's going to think about it. 髪型はさらっとしてますね。
Can you say that slower?
髪型がさらっとしてますね。
髪がサラサラしてますね。
サラサラ。Okay, so the onomatopoeia word is サラサラ。
サラサラ。
So you've got the word 綺麗 as is beautiful,
Yeah.
and you have サラサラしてる, which is a little bit different from the verb, from the adjective, 綺麗, beautiful, right? But then again, you know, like, which one would you prefer me to say? サラサラしてる、さらっとしてるか、綺麗ですね。
でもちょっと見てるところが違うもんね。髪の毛のクオリティをサラサラしてるだと言ってるけど、綺麗ですねだとなんか全体的なじゃ見た目。
No, the full condition, the whole everything together is beautiful. But the sara sara is one feature, one aspect of the hair.
Yeah. だから。
It's quite difficult, you know, like, because the first word would definitely be さらっとしてるんですね。Right? 見てみたら、you go to a beauty parlor, for example, like hair salon. Yes, and then they cut your hair, they set it up, they've done everything, and then the first thing that the hairstylist would say would be, さらっとしてますね。Right? か。綺麗ですね。
さらっとしてますねか、綺麗ですね。そうだね、もっと具体的になるんじゃない？そのオノマトペ。
That's right, because onomatope creates images to Japanese people. It creates images in their mind. All right, and based on that image, you know, like based on that word, they create that image and they get the message with more visual and more easy to understand. Whereas English, without voice inflection, you won't be able to understand how I feel.
確かに。
Okay, very quick internet search has revealed a possible answer to the first question: why Japanese has so much onomatopoeia. It says that compared to English, for example, English has a lot more vocabulary, and it also has a lot more syllables in English now. Therefore, in order to express feelings more concretely, to describe feelings and situations more specifically, onomatopoeia has solved that problem for Japanese people. There are thousands of onomatopoeia that are used to describe feelings and to describe the true meaning of situations and feelings.
Exactly. Whereas English, because of that too much vocabulary that has acquired over centuries, people are using voice inflection to express their feelings. because there will be a very difference when I say, "Hey Nick, long time no see," versus "Hey Nick, long time no see." You know, that's a big difference in delivering there.
According to one study, Japanese has 3 times more onomatopoeia than English.
Exactly.
Oh.
3 times more.
3 times.
そうなんだ。
And I hear it on a daily basis. I mean, you even use it in a daily basis.
あ、そうなの。
Right. Whereas English, you know, like we would never use, "Oh, look at the dog, it goes bow wow." Right? You'd never say that, right?
What does the Japanese dog sound like?
ワンワン。
Yeah, I want to talk about that for a minute. I mean, really, does a dog go 1-1? I mean, bow wow, right? That's what the dog sounds like.
いや
Well, actually, would we be a woof woof as well? Yeah.
Yeah, we've got woof woof, bow wow, yap yap.
Yap yap.
やっやっ。
Yeah, because it depends on the size of the dog.
Oh, I
right?
see.
You've got a small chihuahua, it's yap yap.
やっ。
And then you've got a middle-sized dog, it might be a bow wow.
Okay.
And a big dog, like a Saint Bernard, would probably go woof
Oh,
woof.
woof
You
woof.
want to get closer to the microphone if...
Well, usually my voice is quite loud, so I thought I would stand back.
Anyway, yeah, it's just impressive how much onomatopoeia words, you know, like are being used on a daily basis in Japan. And Japanese people, they never actually thought about the fact that
うん。
gion or onomatopoeia, it's actually giving visual effect and brings more delivery into the communication rather than just a regular word, you know. And sometimes I believe that even Japanese, and I think you would agree that if I say "kami ga kirei desu ne," it sounds a bit strange or maybe a little bit ayashi, you know.
あ、日本人に言われると
Yeah,
怪しいって言われる。
Right? So and like, "Oh, kami ga kirei desu ne." So what does he mean? What does she mean? You know, what's the background of
何か裏に何か考えているのではないか。
does this person has any
something like ね、
Yeah.
なんかそういうチーティングな心がある
right?
みたいな。
Right? So it's the language itself that it's creating people to think.
Wow, I didn't know this. Did you know that gakkari is onomatopoeia?
あ、そうなんだ。
I thought it was just a word. But according to this list, gakkari is considered onomatopoeia.
へえ、がっかり。
Yeah.
Disappointed.
Disappointed. Yes. Well, I would imagine, you know, because the language itself, when it came, it obviously came with religion. Okay, it came with kanji.
Yeah.
Right, and there are some words like Japanese have really interesting, like take the word manabu for example. Okay, manabu has one kanji and bu, right?
And you're talking about learn, right?
Yes,
To
learn.
something.
But there is also benkyo suru, to study.
Right.
Right? And the word benkyo itself is compound of 2 kanjis,
うん。
and manabu is compound of 1 kanji. Right? It's quite interesting there.
あ、そういうところも。
Right, it's quite interesting there. And then you have the word narao.
Hang on, wait a minute. Narao. Why do I know that?
習う。
To
Is that a
study.
fix? Oh, no.
Learn.
Now,
To learn.
Naosu is fix,
To
right?
learn.
Naoru.
なお。
Naoru is fix.
Naosu is fixed.
Naosu is fix.
Yes.
What was your word?
習う。
Narao.
Narao.
Narao. Right.
To learn.
So,
To learn.
Wow.
yes. And then you've got naraigoto, right?
Yeah? 習い事。
Like learn how to play the piano,
うん。
learn how to dance, learn how to, I don't know, even study language. It's naraigoto, right? So they've got so many mixtures of words that you can use, but I never actually understood when can I use narao,
うん。
when can I use benkyo suru, when can I use manabu.
うん。
Do you know it? Can you explain that to a person? Like when would you use those things, you know?
なんかそれが日本語を勉強教える人は難しいって言うよね。
Well, can I ask a quick question?
Okay?
For example, if it was an academic
うん。
course, I would probably say, for example, study it.
うん。
Whereas learn is a bit more generic, like you can learn how to use a computer, for example.
Well, I want to know whether
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
the
I want to
truth.
know if that's the
Because
case
you've
in
got
Japanese.
benkyo suru,
うん
right? And you've
Yeah.
got gakushu suru as well.
Oh wow, I don't know that one.
そうだね。
So
確かに。
what, you know, and now imagine, you know, like you have a Japanese person like you, for example, learning English,
うん。
Yeah.
and how she will differentiate all of those words into English. Like it's so difficult, right?
うん。
Like please, I always hear it from people who just started learning English. They always say, please teach me your telephone number.
教える。
教えてください。Right? So, for example, right? So, but in English it goes very, very different. But
Well, yeah,
okay,
please
we
tell me
are a little bit off topic. I'm just saying that there are so many words in Japanese that Japanese people use them on a daily basis, but when it comes to switching into English, then it's hard. And same thing for us. You know,
どっちが多いのかな、日本語と英語で。
no, English has more vocabulary. That's a fact.
そうだよね。
Yeah.
That's
well,
a fact.
because we don't have the same onomatopoeia that you have, so we need more words to describe that feeling. Okay, for example, I'm just looking at them. Okay, do you know GG?
GG?
Yeah.
GG?
Yeah, in English.
GG?
Mm-hmm.
GG in English?
Yes. We have maybe 2 options here.
GG って何？
GG. I don't know. Are you talking about ankle?
No, this is to sizzle.
To sizzle. Your onomatopoeia words.
Yeah.
そう、GG って何？
Sizzle.
GG. Like sausage. You put it on a on a grill.
It's also
You fry it.
It's also apparently in Japanese the possible sound that a cicada makes in
What?
summertime.
Cicadas. What is the sound the cicada makes?
GG.
Oh, yeah, right.
The cicada goes
Yeah.
GG.
Yeah.
Right. But okay.
Okay, that was not a good example. I'll do this one. Okay. Sara sara.
サラサラ。
Okay.
Rustling, murmuring, and then fluently. We've got 3 options in English.
Rustling, murmuring, and
Fluently.
fluently.
Yep.
Rustling って何？
Zatto.
Same thing as sarasara.
Roughly, approximately, briefly, lightly.
I see. So how about zakkuri? Is that an onomatopoeia word again?
ざっくり？
ざっ
がっかりじゃなくて、
like what was the word? Like
さっき言ってた。
oyoso, right?
Oh,
About
wow.
yaku,
ああ、いや、ざっくり。
zakkuri, right?
Okay, this is even better. Korokoro.
コロコロ。
Korokoro. Small and round thing that is rolling in English. Small round thing that's rolling. High pitched sound or something fickle. So if you were learning English, okay, and you wanted to know the translation of korokoro, you have to learn 3 different phrases.
Yeah. And those different phrases differ, right? Depending on the subject that you're talking
Right.
about.
So isn't Japanese convenient? Wow, you can just learn korokoro and you have a word.
Well,
that
that's
for all
that's
those
that's my
situations.
point. That's my point, because the Japanese onomatopoeia creates images which English doesn't.
Right.
So we need a verb for us to
Or
visualize,
an
or an adjective,
or a description.
The
Yeah.
adjective, adverb, verb that can, or description to help us visualize the thing. It's like sausages. So you sizzle sausages, right? Like sausage you jiji suru. Can you say it like that?
I never said
Yeah, so, right? So that's where it comes difficult. That's where the language gets complicated.
ああ、なるほどね。
Because I know the word sizzle. Okay, so I'm going to say it to a Japanese person. Oh, like let's have a barbecue. Barbecue やりましょう。私はちょっとソーセージをジージーする。ソーセージを焼くわけだよね。
よく。
焼く。じゃあ probably 焼く that action of 焼く means to grill, right?
Yeah.
Or to fry, depending.
Yeah.
But it's when GG obviously refers to the sound of the sausage being sizzled
なるほど。
at the moment. Like when you
Well, that would be my interpretation.
Like-
I guess that's
that sounds that
right, yeah.
when you put a sausage like on a frying pan, and then
It sizzles.
It sizzles. It sounds. It makes sounds as
Yeah.
it's being fried, right? And
That's English
sizzle.
onomatopoeia.
That's in English
なるほど。
to sizzle.
Yeah.
その時は GG 例えば今バーベキューやってます、right? 聞いてねソーセージが GG してるって言わない
あんまり、
Oh, maybe sausage is not a part of the Japanese culture, so it's like I'm confusing you here. ごめんね。
ジュージュ
ジュージュー。
ジュージューとか言ってるとか。
ジュージューね。
ジュージューとか。
はい。
ジュージュー
ジュージュー。
For a sausage sizzling?
いや、
It's for everything,
I
basically.
prefer GG.
ジージー
Yeah. Sounds
GG.
closer to sizzle.
あ、そうなんだ。
Juju, it's you know that hormone like
Yeah.
Yeah.
restaurants, they've got this.
Well, but now we're entering into another issue of the difference, I think, in the onomatopoeia in English and the onomatopoeia in Japanese. In English, there's more kind of closeness with the sound of the
sound,
actual
yeah.
word
Yeah.
and in reality, the actual sound. You know what I mean? The word and the thing it's describing they try to be very, very similar.
うんうん。
Yeah.
日本語はちょっと変えてる。
Yeah.
ちょっとなんか、なん
So I'm trying to think of another
So
example.
you've got this type of onomatopoeia, and then you've got another type of onomatopoeia that no matter how many times you listen, you'll never be able to understand. Like, for instance, this has nothing to do with the sound that the object is making. For instance, neba neba,
Slimy.
because you know it, right?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. There's no like I would my English brain has problem with it because I would be trying very hard to connect the sound with the word, and for some reason, well, not for so. Of course, I know the reason. It's because I speak English, but I can't get the connection.
That's where the connection is being lost, right? Soa soa suru.
ああ。
For example, you know, these words were this is like a high level onomatopoeia words.
This is really interesting. Like this one for an for someone studying English or any language, if you find a similarity between the two languages, obviously it helps you to learn, right? Makes it more memorable and easier to recall. So here's an example of one that's quite similar. Gabu gabu.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
gabu gabu.
Gabu gabu, which is gulping.
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 Gulp.
Yeah. So gulp and gabu.
Gulp. Gulp.
So there's a lot of I think similarity between those two.
What is the onomatopoeia? Gau.
Gulp.
In Japanese.
In Japanese, gabu gabu.
ガブガブね。
Gabu gabu.
うんうん。
Gulp.
ガブガブね。
I could remember that because there's enough similarity.
Because it's close to it.
Yeah.
So.
ああ、そういう言葉もあるってこと。
So when studying a language, for example, for our Japanese listener, if they, you know, like what you use in daily life, your vocabulary that you use in daily life, that's the vocabulary you'll probably need to remember it in English so that you can produce sentences.
そうか。
Not trying to, I mean, it's good to copy people, but that's very difficult if you don't use the phrase that you've learned from a movie or from something. But you know, keeping the things like this is my daily vocabulary, this is what I use for this situation, this is what I use for that situation, and if you learn it that way, you'll probably be able to connect it more. So when you go abroad, for example, kohi kudasai, right? You understand, you know, like you learn one phrase, can I have a cup of coffee or a coffee please? That's pretty much enough, you know. Not go outside and then confuse yourself more. First learn a few sets of phrases that's going to help you, and then you can expand it from there.
なるほどね。日本語話すとき、日本語勉強するとき大変だったってことだよね。大変なんだよね。
Oh, absolutely, yes.
そうだよね。ネバネバなんてさ、音しないもんね。納豆ぐらいしか使わないけど。
Right. So is there any other place where you use the word neba neba? Natto igai.
But nibba nibba is slimy. So
Sticky.
any sticky and
Yeah.
slimy.
Neba neba stick.
うん。
Like okay, when you use glue, for example.
Well, actually,
Do you when a glue gets sticked on your fingers, do you say neba neba in that case?
yeah, that's my point. Because I know nibba nibba is slimy.
Slimy.
Like a snail, escargot.
Yeah.
ああ、いや、this one
But
は
what about sticky?
スティッキーもネバネバ。
Same,
ネバネバ。でも、なんかくっついてる感じは
That's right,
ネバネバって言わない。
言わないでしょ。
うん。
くっついてる感じ。So if it sticks,
Like glue,
if
yeah.
it's glued, then neba neba it's no longer
Suitable.
suitable.
So what would you say?
Would you use an onomatopoeia word for that? Or you won't use?
No, I guess
くっついてる。
く
Or
っつ
like
いてる。
that's.
例えば作業した。
うん。
で、あれ
I'm just.
指が。
I'm just really. I mean, I'm really fascinated because, of course, I guess it would be possible for us to use a verb to describe the condition. Well, not always, but sometimes. So like your example of the stars, which is 星をキラキラしてる, right?
星がキラキラ。
がキラキラしてるね。So we can say that in English, the star is sparkling or the star is shining. That's fine, we can do that. But also we've got ways that we can just use an adjective. So it is sticky. We don't need to say, what did you say? なんとかしてる。
Never, never?
No, the glue.
あ、くっついてる?
くっついているでしょ, which is a verb now.
It's a verb.
So yes, we could say it is sticking in English, but we wouldn't.
No.
Right?
No.
We would say it's sticky.
It's sticky. We would use an adjective.
なるほど。
Right.
なるほど。
Because sticking would give you a different image, a different impression.
But yet it's still a verb.
Yeah, I know.
It's still a verb. It's a word. It's either a verb or it's an adjective. But never ever, like we would use onomatopoeia word to express ourselves as, oh, my hands got sticky. For example, right? So these are the points that makes it a really, really hard for both Japanese and for English to learn each other's languages.
Yeah.
ね、コネクトすると難しいかもしれないね。なんかもう別のものとして考えた方が簡単なのかもしれないけど。
Right.
There are so many here, guys.
Because I'm seeing Nick is learning Japanese, right? So and I can see, like when he talks in Japanese, like he always, of course there are some words, there are lots of words and lots of phrases that he knows, but when he enters into like a new domain, a new trying to create a sentence, and that sentence, sounds more English than it sounds Japanese.
Yeah, of course.
そうだよね。
Yes, so that was a bit of a. That's something that, of course, I have it too as well, and also for the Japanese at the same time.
Well, I think as you become more confident in the language, I think you're not directly translating from your first language.
And you shouldn't.
Well, no, not that you shouldn't, but because it's a natural process, especially when you start learning it. But eventually, you get to the stage where you've developed the pathways or whatever for the second language, and you don't need to rely on the first language as your base, as your foundation to create new language. And that's great when you feel that you're becoming, able to do that. That's a sign that your language skill is really improved. But I'm not there yet, so.
True. I mean, you cannot generalize. Every person has his own way of studying things. You cannot. It's really hard to generalize something. Of course, we can create some, but in many cases, it all depends on the person. I always feel that some people excel, some people do not. And they are studying in the same class, for example.
My 2 cents, which means my opinion, is that first of all, everyone learns differently, as you said. Some people learn through hearing, audio learning. Some people learn from speaking. Some people learn from reading. Some people learn from talking.
True.
And that's one reason. The other reason is I think people who have, as a young child, been exposed to different languages have an advantage, because I think their brain has already started creating pathways and associations that help filter out or link up, different the differences and the similarities between two languages, and there's not as much conflict. Whereas when you start learning as an adult, there's a lot of conflict with the first language. Well, naturally.
Of course.
Naturally.
Because you already are used to that. And there is a big difference in that, like it's language itself and the use of language. That's 2 completely different categories. Very different.
Although I think I'm going to round off my opinion, final opinion for today, saying that onomatopoeia is worth learning. I think if you're studying Japanese, because I've found that it's really, really convenient for describing a lot of different scenarios using just one word.
Yep.
It can make your language more fluent. Yes, fluent, natural, and easier, I guess.
Yep.
Do you have an onomatopoeia for easy? 簡単
ですよ
Yeah.
ね。なんだろうバイバイじゃないか。
Like easy or not difficult? Because I'm sure there probably is with this how many onomatopoeia there are in Japanese.
Okay, you're confusing Yumi, but how about how about we use the word dekiru? Like you can use the verb dekiru, and before the word dekiru, you can add an onomatopoeia.
できる
Oh, okay. So you can. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah.
You can connect that. Like for example.
できるのオノマトペ。
スッとできる。
ああ、スッとできる。
そういうことは簡単にできるでしょ。There you go. That's what I want to say. Like the onomatopoeia words and the word dekiru put together, you can speak Japanese very well.
Okay. Can you teach me that one more time? What did you say?
できる。
簡単にできる、スッとできる。
スッとできる。
スッとできる。
What do you think?
スッとできる。
It's incredible, like it's incredible. And Japanese people, they always think, oh my God, I spend time, I spend effort in learning a language, and it takes me a long time, it takes me a lot of money. But they already have those incredible skills to create their own onomatopoeia words.
ちゃんとできる。
There you go. ちゃんとできる、スッとできる。Right? So there are two onomatopoeia words that resonate with Japanese, and the Japanese understand the communication is perfect. It's great. I get it. Yes.
知らない間に使ってたんだね。
Right? So that's amazing.
I'm having a lot of fun here with my onomatopoeia.
That's amazing part. So like that's my final opinion would be particularly to our Japanese listeners.
スルスルに喋りたい？
スルスル？
スルスルに。
スラスラかな。スラスラ。
As in 流暢な？
Smoothly and swiftly. スルスル。
Fluently は？
Fluently.
スルスラ。
スラスラ。
スルスルに日本語できた？
スラスラ喋る。
スルスル喋りたい。
喋りたい。スラスラ喋りたい。
You gotta do it. 喋りたい。
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 喋りたい。スルスル。
And that's the thing about using the word sh, where we roll our tongues, but Japanese never roll the tongue.
タンはいつも同じポジション。
And that's where you get that Japanese English when foreigners speak. Yeah, konnichiwa.
こんにちは。スルスル喋る。
スルスル喋りたい。Anyway, like what we just said is all mostly true.
Oh, it's definitely mostly
true. It's definitely mostly true. Not always 100% true.
No.
But, like I said, Japanese language has developed a different way of communicating with English, and both cannot be compared. Okay. You cannot compare two languages because you cannot say Japanese is speaking Japanese is so boring because it's very monotone. It's only one word. No, it's not like that.
なるほど。
It's you've developed different ways of communication, and you should be proud of that. Okay.
そうなんだ。
That's the most important part, because I wish like English had what Japanese people like compared with all the rest of the people in this world, is the ability to understand without communicating, or the anmokuchi.
Are you talking about kukiyoyomu, the reading the air?
Exactly, reading the air. Anmokuchi is like understanding without communicating. That kind of skill, it's, I believe, a god level skill. Like I have to look at Nick, and I will understand how Nick feels at the moment. I can look at Nick forever, I can guess, but I would not understand what he means, what he wants to say. But Japanese people pay attention to the small details that the person makes, and then they draw a conclusion.
Well, that's possibly the next topic we can talk about, which is cultural differences in communication.
Cultural differences in communication. Now, that would be a next topic then. Until then, mostly true.
Mostly true. スルスルに喋りたい。
スラスラ喋りたい。
Well, it says スルスル on Wikipedia.
スルスルね。あれスルスル喋りたい。
Yeah, is it サラサラ is better?
サラサラ。
サラサラ is not
スラスラ。
スラスラ。
スラスラ喋りたいニックでした。
Yes, and until then, like, yes.
Until then, I will do my best.
Maybe Nick, by the end of this, probably in the 10th episode, Nick will be speaking fluently. Sura.
Yeah, that's definitely mostly true.
Thank you for listening.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.